That's a good ball for Peter Weir. Now Aberdeen with McGee making the break and Huey waiting in the middle. Yes!
Countdown to Kickoff is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental, and also by Craig International, a truly global company with 10 offices strategically placed around the world. The future of global procurement is right here, and tomorrow we're back at Pittodrie. It's a Premier Sports Scottish League Cup quarter-final kick-off at the Grand Old Lady is at 5:30 UK time. It's Aberdeen against the Spartans. Hi everybody, how you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV this Friday night. This is Countdown to Kickoff as we look ahead to our game against the Spartans tomorrow at Pittodrie with a fantastic opportunity to get back to Hampden, and to get to Hampden within the first few months of Jimmy Tulane being Aberdeen's brand new manager, which for me would be just reward for all the hard work that's been put in over the past few months. So, if you're here for the first time, hi, how you doing? You're more than welcome. Thank you for tuning in. So what we do on this show is we do some housekeeping, we bring you some match stats, we hear from the manager, and we bring you some bits and pieces which involve the club. And to be honest with you, the main part of the show is getting you guys on. So the idea is that you leave your comments behind the main video on YouTube, leave your comments without using bad language, and always be respectful to your fellow fans that come on the channel and leave their thoughts as well. It's very important that we keep this place a safe haven, which is entirely up to you guys. So leave your comments and then I will do my best to read them out as we go along tonight. Just a wee thing for you. So the review show, I'm not going to bring it to you on Sunday. I'm going to bring it to you on Monday. And the reason that I'm going to bring the show to you on Monday is because I have a very special announcement to make, but I can't bring it to you until Monday. So I thought what I would do is wait until then to do the review show. It's incredibly exciting news, and I absolutely cannot wait to bring it to you. So tonight, what do we think about the Spartans? So as we said at the top, it's an unbelievable opportunity to get us back to Hampden to play in a significant match, which could obviously take us towards a final. I've got the match stats for you, which just show you the type of form that the Spartans are in. Jimmy has spoken about it today in his press conference, and he said that basically, we need to be careful, that we need to be very aware of them. And in simple terms, words to the effect of not taking the foot off the gas. So with that in mind, I've tried to predict the team news. And I think what he's going to do is I think he'll stick with the same team that started last weekend. So I think he'll go with the same back four, which I think has never been in doubt. But this is where I think it's interesting because the skipper is fit. He'll be in the squad. Even though he's been off ill for a few days, he has trained. But I think he'll stick with Ante Palaversa to play alongside Nielsen. I think it's almost impossible to not put Pape in, who is 25 years old today on his current form, with Jamie on one side, Toppy on the other, and I think it'll be Kevin that will play as the sole striker up front. So that's what I think the team will be tomorrow. If you agree or disagree, please feel free to come on and let me know what you think the team will be tomorrow. So Jimmy said this, it's a cup game. You have to win or you're out. That is the different part from the league game. we always try to think about it in the same way, game by game, and try to have the same preparation and not change anything in our mentality and get this stable performance. You cannot always be up here, but you can't drop too low. You have to be stable to get the points and the victories. He went on to say, tomorrow is no different from the other games. So again, very interesting thoughts from the manager. I'm just going to clear the timeline just to get the final bits and pieces in that I want to show you tonight. He also spoke about Duke. I don't know if you saw that, where he basically said that he's continuing to get match fit, that he'll be involved with the squad, but he necessarily might not be in the squad for the game. So I think very much like last week, I think we'll probably see Duke sort of sitting on the bench but not being part of the squad, if that makes sense. So that's what I think will happen with Duke. He's talked about Dante obviously still being a long-term injury. Apart from that, everybody is fit and raring to go. Right, so that's that in. That's that in. And one last item to drop in for tonight's show, and then we're all done. Okay, great. So, let me bring you the match stats. So Saturday will be the first competitive men's meeting between Aberdeen and the Spartans. The sides have never met in a competitive match in any competition before. The Spartans have only won one from their last 5 games across all competitions, drawing 2 and winning 2. The Dons are unbeaten in 5 Premier Sports Cup matches so far, having scored 16 goals and conceding only 1. And across the competition, Aberdeen have recorded 61 shots at goal, of which 36 have been on target, 25 have been off target, with 16 of those shots blocked. If you are going to the game tomorrow, don't forget to pick up your copy of Red Match Day. This is what the front cover looks like. And as per usual, it's filled with the normal features and interesting info all about the football club, edited by the fantastic Malcolm Panton. Right, I think it's about time we got you guys on. See how you are. Ooh, it's busy. Ooh, it's busy. Let's get the old bins on. So, Grey Pilgrim came on first of all. He said, good evening, dandies. Let's go and win the cup, he says. Absolutely. Dearie me, Ali. 1 second. That's a bit better. Hey, John Grant's here. Hi, John. He says, evening, everyone. What a time to be a dandy. Hope we're full strength tomorrow and get the job done, and then give game time to the guys who have been missing out. Luminous Reality says, good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. We'll be travelling up from Suffolk with my son on his half-term and bought our tickets for the Dundee United and the Rangers games. I can't wait. Excellent effort all the way from Suffolk. Have a safe journey, my friend. The Musical Box is here saying, hi guys, best era to be a Dons fan since the 80s. Pleased to still be here to see it. Alan Jameson is on. Hi Alan, I'm a returning fan, and what a season to pick to return to Pittodrie. Good for you, Alan. Graham Barron is on. Hi Graham, good evening Ali and fellow dandies. Let's start with a strong 11 and see it through and then change it up. Just back from a family holiday, so super excited to see this fine form continue. Let's not forget, going for 11 out of 11. Suze is on, wishing everyone a good evening. Hi, Suze. Mike Findlay says, good evening, all. It surely is a great time to be a dandy. Have to say, I'm loving the way JT is doing things. Feet firmly planted on the ground, one game at a time. Excuse me. The Musical Box came back to say, thanks for the messages of support, and I'm definitely making a good recovery now. Good for you, mate. Absolutely delighted. And thank you to all of you who dropped the Musical Box a note after his recent scare. So absolutely delighted that you're now making a recovery. Barry Cole is here. Hi Barry, he says, good evening dandies, looking forward to heading to Pittodrie, this time taking my good lady and treating her to the Tulleen Revolution, going to Atrium afterwards to keep her happy. The Atrium. So, the Atrium. Is that, because I confess, I've not been out in Aberdeen for a long, long time. Is the atrium what was the old sort of, how can I explain it? The really nice bar up by up by Queen's Cross. Is that the atrium? Is that the one up there? Or am I just being a complete buffoon? I probably am. Richie Mickey McMillan is here saying, hello everybody, he's just made it. Neom79 is wishing everyone a good evening. Phil McLean is also wishing everyone a good evening. Another win, hopefully, he says. David Goldratley is also on, wishing everyone a good evening. The musical box says, oh no, he's going to dance with Pappy on Sunday. He wishes. He wishes. Richard Mickey McMillan says, prefer Mondays, Ali. Doug Smith says, hope to see a few fringe players given a chance tomorrow, as we always have a strong bench, ideal opportunity. Yeah, I'm with that. I'm with that as well. Barry Cole makes a good point. He says, got to give them respect and stick to the plan. Alexander Wallace said, good evening all, looking forward to another win. Without being disrespectful to Spartans, we should be too powerful for them at Pittodrie. Neil Strachan says, Ali, I think Aberdeen will win 4-0 tomorrow to make it 11 wins in a row. Come on, the Dandies, make us happy, he says. Musical Box agrees that he would play Palaversa instead of Shinnie. David Goldrallyvids completely disagrees and says, I think Shinnie will start. Bob Duff is here. How are we doing? He says, good evening, everybody. Richard Mickey McMillan is also wishing everyone a good evening and reminding you all to press the old like button. So if you're enjoying the show, don't forget, give it a wee like. Barry Cole says, give Shinnie a rest. He goes on to say, bigger games coming up in October. Don't forget, we've got 6 big games coming up. Paul Hurd says, I really hope he does start Palaversa tomorrow. He needs plenty game time to get used to Scottish football. I agree with that. Bob Duff says, any word on Shinza's recovery from his cut foot, Ali, as exclusively revealed by you last Sunday. Allegedly, a cut foot. So I don't know. The manager did say that he's been training, so I think he's absolutely fine. Kilted Warrior is on, wishing everyone a good evening. Barry Cole says, yes, Shinza was training today. EOI fan says, agree about Palaversa, but thinks Sokla will get the nod in front of Nisbet. Morris has done well and deserves a place in the first 11 too. Okay, so if you think Morris will start, who do you think will drop out? Toppy? Jamie? It's got to be one of those two, right? I actually think I'd prefer Toppy to start and then bring Shaden on as one of these impact players. We saw the impact that you had last week. But I absolutely take your point about starting. Kevin Spence says, totally agree with your lineup. This won't be an easy match, so need to be switched on from kickoff. Barry Cole is suggesting, because we've got a big October coming up, that we need to rest players when we can. Rod Cow says, another AFC fan podcast wondered if Nielsen may be rested. Shinnie and Palaversa to start. Where's Jamie Clarkson? Yeah, that's not a bad point. I can see that. Kilted Warriors predicting a 6-0 win for the Dons. Grey Pilgrim has said maybe give McGrath a rest and put Leighton Clarkson in. Bob Duff came back to say the West Coast media are disparaging in their assessment of AFC. Rather than focusing on our so-called easy start, why not focus on JT's short time here and how much more improvement there is to come? Yeah, Bob, you're absolutely right, but unfortunately it's never going to happen because it's something they just won't focus on. Because if they start focusing on all the positive sides to what Aberdeen is doing, God forbid, it'll start detracting from the attention that they all know everybody wants and everybody needs until they start coming out of the Glasgow region and then they start to notice, oh my goodness, there's actually more football clubs in Scotland than just 2. Connor AFC is on saying, hey Ali, Hi Connor, how you doing? David Horn says, good evening Ali and fellow dandies, looking forward to tomorrow. Connor is asking any idea why Duke is still out this weekend. Thought he would have returned against weaker opposition. So just to reiterate the point that I made at the top of the show, Connor, the manager basically said today that he's been training, he's doing well in training, but he's not quite up to speed yet, and that there are other players in front of him who are. So he's going to have to fight for his place and continue to impress in training. At the moment, I would say that he's got 2 or 3 players in front of him. Gavin Wilson said, good evening, I'm out walking the dog watching on the phone. Remember, the treble is still on. Enjoy your evening stroll, Gavin. Bob came back to say, I've seen Shinny out walking his dog all week. He looks absolutely fine to me. Good stuff. Ah, the atrium is Gerard's old place in Chapel Street. There you go. So, Bob, just to clear up some confusion, right? So the manager said last week that the reason that Shinza was out was because he wasn't feeling very well. I got told in good authority that he cut his foot and that it got a little bit infected and he had to go to hospital just to get it sorted out and get it fixed. So I had it on good authority. I don't know whether it's true or not. But my point about it was, if he did allegedly cut his foot, then I don't see any reason in why not just telling people that he cut his foot. Because it's not a big deal. Everybody does it. It happens all the time. It's just a wee infection. It's nothing to get our knickers in a twist about. So I just think it's good PR to just come out and tell the truth, because as you can see now, all it's done is set tongues wagging. And if there's something I absolutely cannot abide, it's when tongues start wagging. Because folk put 2 and 2 together and come up with 5. You know what I'm saying? Graham Barron says, let's hope we don't leave it until the 93rd minute in this game. These teams are always up for a shock. He's very confident of a 7-0 win. Can't be bothered says, I think we might say Doohan start and perhaps Jack Milne. Yeah, Doohan in goal, okay. Phil McLean says, we should do a competition and the winner gets to dance with Pappy. Oh, now that's a thought. The musical box says, thing is, when the main players are playing like ours at the moment, it's hard to justify replacing them with fringe players. David Goldralli Vid said, I think Palaversa would actually be a better option against the bigger teams. Graham Gibbs says, I think he'll start with his first 11 and show Spartans respect. If we get a few ahead, then you can rest players. A day at Hampden is at stake. Doug Seavright is predicting a 3-0 win for the Dons. Craig Buchan says, start with your strongest team and then bring them on, all being well. Connor AFC is asking, do you reckon we'll have that fancy smoke and fire again? What a display that was last week. No, I don't think it's scheduled for tomorrow, but no doubt there will be some coming up very soon. Don't forget we've got the Neil Simpson tribute soon. Kilted Warrior said, well done the under-18s, an impressive 5-0 win today. Ewan Sutherland agrees with a post that came on earlier. It's the best football since the 80s, but early Smith and McInnes were good periods as well. Martin Bihari says, good evening, dandies. Just to let you all know, the operation on testicular cancer went well, and I hope to be back at football in December. Stand free. Martin, that's fantastic news. Thank you so much for coming on and telling us all. And absolutely delighted that everything went well for you. And stay strong in your recovery. And we're all of us here on ABTV, everybody involved, we're absolutely sending you our strength and our absolute love, mate. Top man, Martin. Gavin Mills says, I think Spartans will be a very tough opponent. We need to concentrate for the full 90 and hopefully take all our chances. Kevin Spence, Excellent point. Kevin, I genuinely don't know. It's a good question. He says, are there any players one booking away from missing the semi-final? It's an excellent point, and I confess I don't actually know. Boule Loon, I think that's how you pronounce it. Boule Loon. I'd like to see Toppy played on the left with Morris on the right. Defence will be breathing through their backsides after 5 minutes. Their defence, you mean? Paul Hurd says, to add to you and Sutherland's point, the early days of Calderwood and Goodwin's tenures were good. Early days, but this does feel different. Alexander Wallace says, the only downside to a good cup run and getting to the final is going back to Hampden, which is just not a pleasant experience in terms of logistics, of travel and value for money provided. There we go. David Gold Rally Vids has basically answered the question. So he said, Vinny, Pape and McGarry, one booking away from suspension. So, that could be interesting. That could be interesting. Don't think Vinny will start anyway. McGarry won't start. So Pape could be an interesting one. So do you leave out your top goal scorer who is absolutely bang on form at the moment? That's a dilemma, isn't it? That is a dilemma. Xander SM says, hopefully we can win this trophy if nothing else. I trust these players and our manager. Thank you to all of you who have answered the question about the booking. Gosh. Do you risk him? Do you risk him? Gordon Keith Ritchie says, good evening all. We need to play our strongest team tomorrow and we should get a result. Do you know what? I have to be honest. I wouldn't play him. I'd stick him on the bench. Maybe play Esther just in behind or Leighton in there. Don't risk it. Maybe don't risk it. Or as Phil is suggesting, if he scores, take him off early. That's also an option. But do you play safe? Graham Barron says, if we get them at the semi and the Strathclyde Football Association will give us a Sunday 12:30 kick-off against our next opponents, it will be typical of them to do that. Pete Hentges has come on and says, I think we rest Pape. Connor says, Pape off at half-time after he scores his hat-trick. Right, guys, I'm going to call it a night because we're just coming up to 25 minutes. So, just a gentle reminder that the review show will be on Monday because I've got an announcement to make on Monday. So what we'll do is we'll kill two birds with one stone. So we'll come back and we'll do the review show, look back on tomorrow's game. Don't forget, 5:30 kick-off at Pittodrie, live on Premier Sports. And then we'll come back on Monday, normal time, 7 o'clock, to do the review show. So guys, thank you so much for coming on. It's been absolutely fantastic having you all on. It's been another busy show tonight. The viewing figures at the moment are absolutely incredible. We're averaging 1,650 views per show, which is just incredible. So thank you so much. And all that's left to say, as we always do on a Friday night, is the very best of luck to the boys tomorrow. Absolutely go for the jugular. And you deserve a trip to Hampden. We deserve a trip to Hampden. Let's get there. I'll see you all on Monday night. Take care. But before I leave you, just a gentle reminder. Stand free.